video was uploaded by Humble is the Way.
And our first message was Hosea, the man who loved God. And then Sunday evening, we talked about Hosea and the therefores of God's love. And this morning, having articulated some beneficial scriptural nourishment to those of us who are Christians from chapter 1 and chapter 2, we move now to chapter 3 of the book of Hosea. Now, if you found Hosea, because it's not the easiest book in the world to find, but it's right next to Daniel. And so if you get to Daniel, turn right, and you go right to Hosea. Hosea is a prophet of God. Hosea is not only a prophet of God, but Hosea is described as a minor prophet. Hosea prophesied in the northern kingdom of Israel. Now, Israel, God's church, and that's what this whole thing is about. Israel is God's church, and God's church has been divided. There are 12 tribes. 10 of those tribes are in northern Palestine, in the capital city of Shechem or Samaria. And they are ruled and governed by a king named Jeroboam. The other 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin, they are down in southern Palestine. So you have part of God's house, part of God's church down in Judah, that's southern Palestine, near Jerusalem and Bethlehem. And then you have the other 10 up in Shechem or Samaria. But they're all brothers, they're all children of God, except that God's church has split in 2. And so you got 2 parts of God's house. Now, God is crying out against not only the split, but God is crying out through the prophets against their idolatry, against their lackadaisical attitude about the commandments and statutes of God. Up in the northern kingdom, we have a prophet by the name of Hosea. Hosea is a prophet of God and one of God's best prophets. Not only do we have Hosea in the northern kingdom, but we also have Amos, another one of God's great prophets in the northern kingdom. Now, Amos, of course, is a resident of the southern kingdom, but he prophesied in the northern kingdom. Amos is from a little town called Tekoa, and he is one of God's greatest prophets. Down in the southern kingdom, down in Judah, you have other prophets. You have Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. You have Isaiah down in the southern kingdom. All of these are great prophets of God. But God chose to speak through Hosea to the whole house of Israel. I told you that Hosea is playing the part of God Almighty. God chose Hosea to play him in this mighty drama before the house of Israel. Gomer is the wife of Hosea, and Hosea represents Israel. So Hosea is representing God, and Gomer, his wife, is representing the church of God. And so God speaks to Hosea. in chapter 3 and verse number 1. He has spoken to Hosea in chapter 1 and 2, and he continues to speak to Hosea in chapter 3. And in chapter 3, God says, "Then said the Lord unto me," that's Hosea, "Go, yet love a woman, beloved of a friend, yet an adulteress." Now, God said, and that's my text, "Go yet love a woman." Go yet, and there it is right there in verse 1. It's a biblical text. Go yet love a woman. Now, why did God say go yet love a woman? Well, Gomer was Hosea's wife. He married her, and Gomer was a woman of whoredom. And Gomer left Hosea and went in the streets and started parading the streets like a prostitute. But Hosea still loved her. She had a child for Hosea. But the other two children that she had three. The other two children, from the reading of the Bible, it is indicated they may not even been Hosea's. But Hosea treated those children as if they were his. He never grumbled about the fact that she was out there in that street prostituting herself. Well, Gomer not only went out in the street and prostituted herself, but she connected herself with a lover who couldn't take care of her. And as a result, she was hungry, she didn't have clothes, she was destitute, she was degraded. And Hosea went and bought food for her and took the food to her lover and says, "Give this to Gomer that she might have food to eat." Now this woman has left this good man. This good man never questioned God about the fact that God wanted him to marry this prostitute, but he married her anyway. And not only did he marry her, he provided a home for her. He took care of the children. When she went out there laying up with other men and found herself in a degraded position, he went and bought food for her. And God says, out of all of that, you see, now we're coming to the text. I see what you have done, Hosea. I see that this woman has left you. I see that she has gotten children by another man. I see that she is living with this man down in the dingy part of the city. I see that she is hungry. I see that she is nothing but a pure prostitute. But then God says in chapter 3, verse 1, "Go yet." I mean, in other words, out of all of that you have done for this woman, I want you to do yet one more thing. Go yet. Watch this. Go yet love a woman, beloved of her friend. In other words, it's getting worse and worse. Hosea, that's your wife down there. And she is living with another man. And God says, go love her, even though she is living with another man and is an adulteress. Now Hosea still loved this woman. He loved her before she fell. Well, that's natural. You see, it's only natural to love your wife. It's only natural to love her when there is nothing to hate her for. It's only natural to love her when there is nothing negative about her. So when we say that Hosea loved Gomer, that's a natural reaction. But that's not all. Hosea loved her before she fell into the streets. He loved her during the time she was in the street.